Good morning to everyone. Uh, Thank you very much, Varsha, and thank you to Pharma Next to invite me because now the conferences are becoming much more physical and there is no substitute but to be physically present because you get the best out of meeting, best out of conference through physical interaction where you can watch movements, we can share. We are not in the hurry to just get away. And also, we don't have to be bothered when we should mute, when we should unmute, and when we should be on the video and when we should not be on the video. Because in the physical conference, we have to be on the video in the physical form always. So with this context, what I like to do is talk about the changing landscape of the pharma industry. I've been told that most of you are IT people. I've got a challenge today. My voice may not be totally right because we operate in a very uncertain world and we don't know where we get impacted. So the first thing which I did before coming to meeting today, I had committed to Varsha that I have to be here. But yesterday I was not well, so first thing I got it done, that let me get the COVID test done, whether I am fine or not, and reach there if I am fine, and try to make and share my perspective for this meeting. So I am fine. The voice is only not great as it should be, but I like to do best what I can do as far as Varsha is concerned. So today we are operating in a world which is in a classical sense VUCA world. Volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. It has been the most unprecedented times. I've been in this industry for last 45 years. I have been in a marketing function where you see changes every day, but the kind of challenges what we faced in last 30 months have been unimaginable. The pandemic has impacted around 600 million people all over the world. It took the toll of around 6.4 million people. There may not be a single person present here who or his family may not have been impacted through the COVID. We went through wave 1, wave 2, wave 3. Wave 2 was particularly difficult, and I, being the part of Indian Pharmaceutical Alliance, which deal with top 24 companies, contribute 60% of the domestic sales, 80% of exports from India. Every day has been a unique day. Every day has been a day where you don't know how the day starts and how the day ends. The treatment protocols have changed from wave 1 to wave 2 to wave 3. We were talking HCQ in wave 1. We talked about remdesivir in wave 2. And we are talking now of paracetamol in wave 3. And on top of it, something misleading came about Dolo, which is not true because 1,000 crores no one can spend in a year's time on a particular brand. But that's part of the world where we stay in. On top of it, COVID has not ended. We got entangled and there is a war in Ukraine. We don't know when will it end. We are caught up in Sri Lankan crisis, and all this have got economic impact. So there is a COVID, there is a Ukraine war, there is a Sri Lanka war, and there is everything going on one after another. It's the classical example of the VUCA world. There is uncertainty, and this is going to be the way of life going forward. Having said that this is going to be the way of life, Adversity also gets the best out of the organization, out of the individuals, out of the nation. And I would say that pharma industry, and many of us should be proud of the fact who are here from the healthcare industry and IT industry, that pharma industry rose to the occasion. We made sure that the products are available most of the time. Yes, during wave 2, there were some problems, but we recovered very fast. We have supplied our products to more than 200 countries around the world, and we have been recognized as the healthcare custodian of the world. From a time when we didn't know how to make masks to PPEs, we have been exporting masks and PPEs and also starting producing ventilators. We developed our own vaccine. Now there are a number of vaccine candidates, and also I heard yesterday from Bharat Biotech that they have developed nasal vaccine, which will pave the way for the prevention of COVID. So the world is undergoing a change. VUCA word, it is there. But what happens in the VUCA world and what happens in this kind of environment, resilience is fundamental, coupled with building the capability. And if I say our industry, all of us, demonstrated that resilience and demonstrated that capability. The important point as far as this is concerned, once we had the resilience, you come from IT. IT became the foundation stone to make sure that we make a difference in the organization and are able to navigate this journey successfully. Congratulations to all of you who have been playing a fundamental role. There are 3 areas which I see a fundamental change taking place in the field of healthcare: digitization, decentralization, and democratization of healthcare. So the healthcare will become more and more digitized. The healthcare will become more and more decentralized, and healthcare will become more and more democratized. COVID has been a great equalizer. COVID does not understand the boundaries. It does not understand rich and poor. It does not understand caste, creed, nations, hierarchy. And democratization is important once the disease does not understand the boundaries. Yes, there have been inequities in the delivery of healthcare during COVID times, particularly of vaccines. Yes, we had an advantage because we had our own vaccines, but vaccines didn't reach all parts of the world. And there will be measures which will happen going forward. I'd like to focus on this theme, 6 fundamental areas or 6 themes which emerge out of the COVID. 6 changing landscapes and the roles and measures which have happened to manage those 6 changing landscapes, and the role of IT in those landscapes, with the overarching theme: digitize, decentralize, and democratize. First change. This is the only time in my 40 years of career that there was uncertainty both on supply side as well as demand side. In supply side, we didn't know when the API comes from China. Wuhan was the starting point. We didn't know what will be the price we will be getting it. We didn't know whether the shipping will start from Wuhan or what will happen. So there was total uncertainty as far as supply side is concerned. On the demand side, we never knew, and for IT, it's a big challenge. For a manufacturing person, it's a big challenge that whether the demand is in Tamil Nadu, Assam, 𝗟𝗵𝗿𝗀𝗃, on the Indian side, which part of the country COVID spreads. Or in the world situation, COVID started from Wuhan, went to Europe, went to US, came to India. Which part it comes, which part it goes, you don't know. So there is a total uncertainty on demand side, as well as there is total uncertainty on supply side. So supply and demand unpredictability. I'm used to a situation in my career where we have got SOP process, standard operating procedure, where you give the demand as a marketing function, because I spend my life on the commercial side. The sales force give the demand. Sales force give the demand of next 3 months because that is required for import. And if the demand varies, the production and supply chain people will say that the sales people don't know how to give the demand. Now, in today's situation, how do you work when the demand parameters are not very clear? And in this environment, IT helped. The SOP processes were internalized in most of the companies. The sales and operating process, which was once in a month, once in a quarter, once in a year, became a daily kind of function. Just to give the example, India supplies 40%, every third tablet in US is sold from India. Every fourth tablet in Europe is sold from India. And there is a lot of hue and cry in this kind of situation. Now, how do we make sure and commit to those people that, yes, we will be able to supply? When on 25th of March, it was announced that no one will go out of the house. Yes, we were operating from home, but the production has to take place on the factories. But our workers went. But if even worker goes, if he doesn't have the full idea of what to make, how will he make? So the cycle of month, so what we did, the chief executive of top 6 companies, Pankaj Patel, 𝗟𝗵𝗿𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃, Nilesh Gupta, Samina, 𝗟Rහි𝗱𝗱𝗀𝗃, and we used to meet every day from 10 to 10:30 to take stock of the situation, how the things are happening. In the afternoon, IT and supply chain people will meet together because the parameters are every day changing, but you have a coordination, you have a collaboration, and you have systems which used to be owned by department, now they became the part of the entire operations of the company. So there is a better integration, better collaboration, better coordination. We moved away from blaming each other to get into collaboration. So collaboration to maintain the vagaries of supply and demand side. And IT served as a basic platform. My congratulations to you, because you people in most of the organization played a very important role. That's one fundamental change, that IT has to be there because that there is a base to work on it. And the planning cycle, which used to be year, it has gone to monthly, even daily, and even in the best of the situations, now it is weekly or bi-weekly. I use the same kind of situation in Sri Lanka. I'm in the board of Sri Lankan company, Sunshine Corporation, which is like Tata Group in this company. So they were talking of yearly budgeting exercise. So when I joined the board, Sri Lankan rupee, 100 rupees used to be equivalent to $1. Now it is around 400 rupees to $1. They were talking of yearly plan. I said yearly plan doesn't work in today's situation. We have to get into weekly, monthly, quarterly plans, right? So point number one, the technology has to be imbibed in the organization. There is no choice. And the planning cycle has to get reduced. Technology will become a fundamental force to catalyze the collaboration in the company. And unless there is a collaboration, unless there is agility, the companies cannot move forward. So first change which was there is supply and demand uncertainty, which will continue to be there going forward. But what will play an important role is technology and collaboration. That's point number one. Point number two, drug development. Who could have imagined that the vaccines can be developed in 12 months' time? When Pfizer talked of developing the vaccines, it was put on mission mode. Again, the use of AI, the use of machine learning to screen the various candidates, doing remote trials, the concept which was unheard of. Clinical trial has to be done when the person comes and you have to see. They opened clinical trials across the world. That protocols were monitored. And the regular meeting with the regulators. So the process, which used to take 10 years' time, got compressed in 1 year time. And how many lives have been saved because of that? And that opens the new area of doing clinical trials. That everything does not have to run sequentially. There are many things which can be done online. It is not necessary that we have to be present everywhere. And we have to select and reject fast. And IT can be a great enabler. So drug development will become a very, very important area going forward. We talk of the concept of patent catch-its. When the product is developed, patents have to be given for 15 years. But what is being talked, if AI, ML, and technology can be used for the faster development of the drugs, can we reduce the cost of development of the drugs? Can we find answers to many of the unmet needs? Can we be better used to the humanity? Can we bring affordable healthcare solutions earlier? And I think this will be a great area going forward, and the combination of health and technology will play a fundamental role going forward. We have just seen it. Still the processes have to be formalized. Still we have to find an answer to this whole thing. But I think India with an advantage of technology as well as pharmaceuticals can be a center for development of the products. That is the second big change where technology will play a very important role. Third area, emergency use authorization. So long, and the repurposed drug, there are drugs and drugs and drugs. The moment the patent expires of a drug, everyone forgets about that drug. So who would have thought that 𝗵𝗵𝗿𝗶, ivermectin, corticosteroids, can there be sub-application? Yes, when you do exploration, something will work, something will not work. But the critical point is the harm should not be more than benefit. In all these cases, they were safe products, so there cannot be any harm, although the benefit may not come in all the cases. But the basic premise was let the harm be more than benefit. So we started working on repurposed drugs. We started working on the concept of emergency use authorization. And this whole area, with the help of IT, should open up new pathways for the discovery of the drugs. There has to be a new regulatory way of development of the products going forward. That's the third area which I'd like to focus on. Fourth area. There are 600 million people which have been impacted all around the world. Everyone said that India spends only 1.2% of healthcare, whereas US spend 14% of healthcare. How India will manage its healthcare system? How vaccination will take place in this country? So first, delivery of healthcare. When so many people are getting impacted, do we have the hospital space? Do we have the hospital infrastructure? Do we have the number of doctors who can treat? Do we have, I used to imagine, I've been in the healthcare field over the years, and I see in the healthcare industry, they call it healthy season, non-healthy season. So healthy season is when the number of patients in the doctor's chamber, you go and meet the doctor as a company representative and you see number of patients are huge. But I was wondering if that was the time, what will happen? How will the doctor would have met them in person? This was the only time when a doctor was afraid of meeting a patient in person and patient was afraid of meeting a doctor, because everyone was afraid that I can get infected with COVID. And what happened in that? Telemedicine got the big boost. Doctor does not want to see the patient, and patient doesn't want to get to the hospital because he fears that he may get infection. So telemedicine got the boost. Who could have imagined that oximeter becomes the part of every house? And every house, many of us took home care. We will keep the record of oxygen. We will have thermometer. We will have blood pressure instrument. We will have glucometer. So democratizing the healthcare. We will keep the record. We will share the record with our doctor. Doctor will advise on the phone, WhatsApp. And it is the beginning of democratization of healthcare with the help of digitization and decentralization. People came at home, collected the samples, reports were sent, shared with the doctor, doctor advised. And we will see more and more trend of this kind, that yes, first time in communicable disease, non-communicable disease, you meet the doctor, but over a period of time, so it will be phygital world where we will start operating. Oh, yes, there is a value of doctor. Yes, there is an importance of touch. Yes, there is an importance of physical conversation. But we move in a world where there is a combination both of digital and physical. And telehealth, telemedicine will play a very, very important role going forward. It will help to take the delivery of healthcare to a larger section of population. And right from my starting theme is it will help to decentralize and democratize healthcare. The fifth trend is digital health ecosystem. We don't have digital health records today. If I fall sick, I go to a doctor, I'm not able to tell him what happened 3 years back, which kind of medicine I used, what kind of interaction which I had. Because there is no record of previous history which is kept. Also, one hospital does not rely on the reports which is issued by the other hospital. There are tests and there are repetition of tests again and again. So the government is talking of digitalization of healthcare records. They want to give like Aadhaar card, individual ID for each of the patients. And if that happens and if that succeeds, it will be a great boon forward for reducing the cost of healthcare and doing a lot of research in healthcare. Yes, there are questions regarding privacy, but they will be dealt. So National Digital Health Mission has been set up, which will take the whole healthcare agenda forward, and digital healthcare records will be very, very important going forward. I will also call Covaxin as one of the big success story of India. We keep on saying what is happening in India, but those who have got vaccination, the way the vaccine forms comes in, the records are maintained, the follow-up is done, it's just we all need to be proud of what has been achieved in vaccination. 200 crore people, vaccinations done in a record period of time. And I keep on imagining a thought that if we would have our own vaccine, if Serum Institute and Bharat Biotech would not have been there, when I started my career in the Indian industry around 40 years back, we used to import everything. Now we supply everything to the world. 60% of vaccine is supplied from India to the world. We need to be proud of that particular fact. So we are what we are because of the immense contribution done by scientists over the period of time. The last point which I would like to focus on is employee centricity. What IT alone did in 2000, Y2K, today I will say is a combination of IT and HR. Employee centricity became very, very important. Safety of employees, dealing with mental health issues, Zoom in their houses, providing IT infrastructure to the people, employees, managing their home environment and work together and ensuring that the continuity is maintained. So there was a lot of centricity in that whole point. I'll conclude by saying that there is a huge, huge diffusion of technology. What happened in last 2 years is equivalent to what happened in last 10 years in terms of technology. Digitization, decentralization, and democratization will be the foundation of healthcare, and technology focused on patient will play a fundamental role. Thank you very much for your patient listening, and I enjoyed being here, and thank you very much once again to Varsha. Thank you very much.